John Marshall, Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court. I believe he's the third Chief Justice. In those days, the U.S. Supreme Court would meet in Washington, D.C. to hear federal cases as a group for about 2 months a year. Then for 4 months a year, they would spread out to the different states to have Supreme Court cases heard by individual justices, but they each had the authority of all the Supreme Court, the entire assemblage. Mr. Marshall had a house a couple blocks from here. He was a Chief Justice. He had his pick of which states he wanted. He chose Virginia. He chose North Carolina. The other justices chose other states. The important case he held here in this very chamber was a case for Aaron Burr. I don't know if you've heard about Alexander Hamilton being killed in a duel by Aaron Burr. Well, they did not like one another. They lived in Manhattan. They decided to have a duel to settle their differences. Manhattan, New York State had a law against dueling. New Jersey had no law against it. So they went over to New Jersey, they had a duel. Many books have been written about what happened, but we know for sure that Mr. Burr was not injured. Mr. Hamilton was mortally wounded. They took him back to Manhattan where he died. And there's quite a play and even a movie about Hamilton, a musical movie you might have heard about. So the grand jury in Manhattan indicted Aaron Burr for murder. Nothing more came of it. The grand jury over in New Jersey indicted him for murder. Nothing more came of it. Aaron Burr was Vice President of the United States at the time. His reputation dropped to zero. Nobody liked him anymore. He had killed one of the popular founding fathers, Alexander Hamilton. Aaron Burr completed his term as vice president. He took off for the Mississippi Territory out toward what is now Mississippi State, the state of Mississippi. The accusation, he's forming a new country in competition with the United States of America. He's a citizen of the United States, so what he's doing is a traitorous act. Arrest him, bring him here for a trial. He's a traitor. Accuse him of being a traitor. They hear all the evidence for him and against him. Mr. Marshall is holding court. It's a federal case. Mr. Marshall hears all the evidence. He said, finally, only one person has testified against him. You need two to convict him, set him free. But to this day, Aaron Burr is a big zero in American history. I've mentioned Mr. Jefferson a few times. Back in 1962, the President of the United States had a dinner for 49 Nobel Prize winners, ambassadors, and other distinguished people. The dinner was at the White House. Mr. Jefferson, according to the President said, "This is the most distinguished group of people to ever dine at the White House, with the exception of when Thomas Jefferson dined alone." So I appreciate your attention. I appreciate you coming to the Capitol. So we have to wrap it up now.
Thank you so
Come
much.
back anytime.